class. This is Hopewell, Time, Content 3, Magic. So, reviewing what we know about the Hopewell mythology and beliefs. People who were viewed as being spiritual were buried in the mounds, and everybody else was cremated. The mounds, especially large ones like the Serpent Mound, aligned with the moon, sun, stars, and large ones like the Serpent Mound are not burial mounds. They're ceremonial mounds. Their artifacts included the animal pipes, where the animal faces towards the smoker, which transfers the spirit, and deer headdresses, and the ray figure, which is the bear transformation figure, indicated transformation and fusion with animals. And over on the right here is the figure you have seen before of the deer headdress. So there were other artifacts that were made and thought to be dealing with identity. A lot of them were flat animal or human shapes made out of mica or copper. You have the bird claw here, and you can see that that is mica, and the sun disk, which is copper, and the kind of the swan thing, which is copper. And a lot of those flat designs are what we're using for our project bases. It's unknown what they were used for, but because they were found at the points, the places of making the sun and moon rise on the mounds. So these are not things that were commonly found inside a burial, but they were buried by the other mounds. Some of them were, but not most of them. So one of the theories about the shapes was that they are the symbols for the clans and families. And when you're traveling to this large ceremonial site, you would meet up underneath the hawk or the hand or the bear or the fish or whatever your sign was. And then this theory is supported by later tribes as we move into the Mississippian culture that followed the Hopewell. They identified themselves with animals. Another theory is that because they were at the specific points, they represented a type of zodiac signs. So zodiac signs are related to star constellations. Our zodiac signs like Capricorn and Leo and Aquarius, they're all based on the constellations and Greek and Roman mythologies. So transformations, both the ray figure, the bear guy, and he's over on the right here. You saw a short video of him that was just basically a 3D scroll. And the deer antler headdresses, they're associated with becoming an animal or being empowered by an animal. And that is kind of a cross-cultural association, because whenever you put on items that belong to an animal, like antlers or fur, or items designed with animals, it's a way of having that animal become a part of you. But there are other artifacts that show transformation as well. This is the hawk transformation. So this is a shell gorget. Gorgets are like necklaces. If you're one of the online only kids, you are doing these kind of things for your design bases. And when we look at this figure, he has the deer antlers on his head, so he's wearing that deer antler headdress. And you can see, like the deer antler guy, he has his ears gauged, and he has a necklace going on. But he also has wings on his back, and when you come down to his legs, they are transforming into the hawk claws. The wolf transformation is a very curious thing. During this time period, wolves were very common in the area and one of the power animals, but they were not used for design as much as other animals. But when they were excavating burials, back when they used to do that, they discovered that there were several burials of older children and adolescents where the canine and front teeth were replaced by those of a wolf. And sometimes other teeth were replaced with wolf's teeth as well. So this is an old picture of one of the excavations, and you can see that the skull is here, and it, just as an aside, it looks from the top of the skull, it looks like they might have been hit in the head, but actually that's kind of a common, thing with you have younger people, because your skulls don't fuse until your 20s, so parts of your skulls can get carried off or go missing very easily. Anyway, but this doesn't happen. You can see here the front teeth and the canine teeth, which would be your flat front teeth, and then your sharp kind of pointy teeth are pulled out, and this thing is stuck in their mouth. And what this thing was the upper part of a wolf's jaw, and you can see the canine teeth, and then it has the palate, and kind of this, I'm not quite sure what it is because it's not part of the jaw, it's attached somehow, kind of like a tongue depressor that went in there. And kind of looking at the shape of these teeth, this is actually a lower jaw that they're showing. So that's just really strange, and there's no references to it in any other art that they have. So this is a very curious kind of thing, but there were more than one of them. There were several of them located in different places. So we find this curious stuff, and what I want you to think about is that the little that we know about who these people were and what they believed, it's based on a few of their objects that are left behind in the mounds. So all cultures leave something behind, all people. A lot of times the things that people excavate are trash, or used to be trash back in the day, but now we think they're just cool. If you guys live around here, if you go on the riverbanks, especially if there used to be an old house in the area or docks, and you dig around, you can find all sorts of cool stuff in the bank. Anyway, so future generations are going to find our artifacts and remains and make some assumptions and ideas about us. So when you're looking at these three artifacts that are not from right now, the cube, it isn't that old, and you guys probably recognize it. It's a Rubik's Cube, and you know that it's a puzzle, that it turns, and the goal is to have all the squares on the side one color, and it's kind of really hard to do. Other generations in the future may not understand that that's what you do with that, especially if the stickers wear off. Next to that, you see something that some of you might have seen at an antique shop or at a great-grandparent's house if they collect stuff. I have one, but it's not here. These are some of the first soda bottles. So they didn't have the metal caps on them. Instead, they had like a marble. And this part comes in, and the soda would be down here, and then the marble sits there, and that keeps the fizz in. They don't spill, because if you knock it over, that marble plugs up the end. But when you drink it, it's sloped enough that the marble comes over here. They're like really, really cool things. And then at the bottom, you guys can read, it says Home Trade Shoe Store Minneapolis. And you can guess that this has something to do with shoes. What this is, it's a button hook. So back in the day when especially ladies wore the tall boots that had many, many little buttons, we're talking Victorian ages, 1800s, to do all those little buttons up with a corset on, you couldn't bend over. So you use this tool, and you would prop up your foot, and that way you could reach and hook up your shoes. So your assignment is 3 things. So you just need your Chromebook and a camera. The Chromebook camera is absolutely fine. And what I want you to do is to look in your backpack or your room or on your body and choose 3 artifacts, 3 objects that are important to you. It doesn't matter what they are. And then you're going to photograph those 3 things together and upload the image. Okay? That's it. And we're going to work with this tomorrow, so make sure you get this done today.